What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
I want to be a Dovahkiin. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alpacapin, and today we're playing the Stanley Parable. This is a game that I've played already, but I don't remember too much about it, and I think it was a good game, so I want to share it with everyone.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Let's go.
All of his co-workers
Voice
were
in the
gone.
sky.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Meeting room. Let's go this way.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What could go wrong? We're just gonna follow the voice the first time.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Let it all ball up inside you, take it out passive-aggressively on other co-workers, and resent them for not supporting you more. I like it.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alright. Alright, boss man. Yeah. Such a
Stepping into
high
his
ceiling.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Of course not.
Yet
Guide me, voice
incredibly,
in the sky.
by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Alright, where are we going?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
This game is Very simple, but profound. So many people work
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
these 9-to-5 jobs, and one can get used to the monotony and the comfort of such a job, never really questioning what it's for.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Even if he doesn't, I do. I got you, Stanley. Let's go.
Now the monitors jumped to life,
Ooh.
their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
This is so cool. What's this?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
What a guy. Power. Oh.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
This is a screen, isn't it?
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Oh, that was the end of that.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Was that a continuation of the story?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, we're gonna go through the door on the right this time.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
That's some expensive soda. Now, if I remember correctly, we can just wait right here.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
You didn't mention the plants. Or the soda machine.
At this
or
point,
the unmoving
Stanley's
clock.
obsession with this room
does
bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Poor Stanley. Just because you didn't fit in.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
I don't think I got the hint yet. Okay, I think that's really it.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first
So
open
great.
door on his left to get back to business.
Nope.
Stanley was so bad at
I'm a
following
rebel.
directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone
Impossible.
you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Ooh.
This is
Ooh,
it,
Stanley.
Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
But who? What do you mean my chance? Can't open that. So do you mean I go back on there or go in here? Nope, taking the chance. Dark room. Oh!
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Okay, only because you asked so nicely. What?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right,
She's
now,
such a
I
sweet
want you
voice.
to come in and tell me all about your
Oh!
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to
So
make a point here,
sad.
Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
That was just mean.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
6.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
No! You don't tell me what to do. Okay.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Oh, this is so sad. This is like the film Walter Mitty, His Secret Life.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
I love you, sweetie.
But there is no answer.
Oh.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Okay. I'll listen to you. I trust you. Sit down.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Makes you think what it's all for. What do you work for? What do you wake up each morning for?
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Oh.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Goodbye, Stanley. Okay.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Yes. We will...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
We'll go through
doors,
the left door.
he entered the door on his left.
We'll play nice for a little bit. And then, bam.
Yet there was
Coup
not
d'etat.
a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it.
Is that my car?
He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Going in a
For
circle.
example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that
Maybe.
matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
That's cool.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Poor thing.
Stanley began screaming.
Ah!
Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Oh. So you're not just a narrator.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
It's so easy for people to categorize themselves in one group and then outcast everyone else. It's so much easier only considering the misfortunes of yourself and ignoring those of other people just because they're different than you, just because they have different circumstances. And to that degree, how many of us really
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly.
But
the thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself,
Accidente.
is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell.
There's a clock right there.
But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
So he died in there. What I was saying earlier, how do we classify crazy? Do we classify crazy as a mental disability, as a mental disorder? Because back then, in the 20th century, anyone who was classified as crazy was thrown in an asylum. And even now, once you're classified as crazy, it's very difficult to find someone who believes what you say, to evaluate you based on your actions of who you are, because how can you determine what's crazy? Someone who's crazy, you can evaluate everything that they say and everything that they do as that's what a crazy person would say. Especially sociopaths and psychopaths. They're known to be very manipulative, and it's hard to classify these people. Even what was the lady's name earlier? Mariella. She thought she was in control of her life, but she worked for someone else, doing probably the same things every day in her life. I don't know. Money's a concept that's only used by humans because we can communicate.
To the meeting room, and
people work their
well.
ass off day and night just to make this money.
First, just to admire it.
And its value is only something that we agree upon.
This room. But eager to get back to business,
how much are you willing to sacrifice to make the money?
Left.
Okay,
And
we'll
so
go here.
He detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
That's enough of my insight. I don't think you want to hear me talk.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go,
You don't sound too sure.
Here it's, left.
I don't trust you.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
What were you thinking?
Clearly...
Or what was I thinking?
Hold on for a minute, please.
It's in my head.
Now, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Lead the way. We're going deeper and deeper.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
Oh,
and this
okay.
time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from
Let's
the
go.
top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Maybe when we're playing this game called Life, we don't actually hear this voice.
When Stanley...
We hear this voice as ourselves. Wait, what?
No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story.
I thought you were just a voice in my head.
Just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
This is too many options. I want to go this way. Damn you. I'm not very good at this. Very indecisive. A frickin' maze.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
You're the boss.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's head straight this time.
It's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Good idea. That door? No, that's my office. No? This is my office.
I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
Wait.
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
See, when you're in a... That's different. When you're in a situation like this, just hug one wall. One side of the wall.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
I agree.
Do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
You kidding me?
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
I walk so much.
Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Colorblind. This line is wrong. What? Okay, we'll follow it.
The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
What awaits me?
Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story?
I don't think I can run on this.
Simply by the act of moving forward, Are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to apologize.
Who drew this?
Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Ooh. Isn't this music supposed to be saved for the victory parade at the end? Monthly ledgers, corporate. Oh! Who designed this place? It looks like a prison. Narrator, I think I'm
Cut the
lost.
music. Go back and look at that fern.
Oh,
Stanley, this
marvelous.
fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
What, you want me to count the leaves or something? Taking a screenshot's not cheating, right? We're in a game. Of a game. Playing as someone. In a game. Okay. Well,
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. No.
Come on.
No.
I trusted
Line,
you.
You do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
oh, we went through there in the first run. We'll go through here. Nope.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you.
I thought you
After
made it.
everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart. You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right?
Yeah.
Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Yes.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
I want to be a Dovahkiin.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
It's kind of hard not to. It's supposed to steer my life, you know, my adventure. Well, okay, I guess everything just derailed.
Ah,
What is this?
a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the
Right.
story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Let's go. What the?
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
Oh,
That's really how
I just
all
die?
this goes? It's all determined?
Find a bookstore.
So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
Am I free?
How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
I think that's it for this game. I think we've explored all the major and meaningful paths. I really like what the creator of this game has done, and I know he's made another one. It's called The Beginner's Guide, where he compiles all the work of this
No
one.
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
This one aspiring game creator, but he trashed all his content, and yeah, I'll play that one in the future too. Thanks for watching. See ya.